morning, everyone. I hope you're well. This is Zainab, your host for today. I am a customer success manager with Kahoot, and I will be walking you through a Kahoot 101 today. Let's go ahead and join in the webinar in the Kahoot game so that we can go ahead and start. The training is going to be through a Kahoot, and we're going to experience all the new question types that Kahoot has recently launched, as well as our new AI-powered tools. So the best way to get the most out of this training is to join the actual webinar and join the actual Kahoot by either scanning the QR code right here on the screen. So you can use your camera from your cell phone, or if you have the Kahoot app, you can use the app directly. Go ahead and scan it, click on the link that opens up, and then you just type in your name and you should be popping into the game. You can also click on the link that I've placed inside chat, and that will open up the game on your computer. So let's get started. Today, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the really cool new features that Kahoot has launched in the last couple of months. The main highlight is going to be the AI-powered tools that we have, but we're going to start off by experiencing some of the new question types, and we'll try to ask a bunch of questions in this Kahoot so that you get a hands-on experience with what those question types look like when presented to your audience. So welcome to the Kahoot 101 for March. My name is Zainab. I am your customer success manager based out of Austin, and I will be walking you through how to create Kahoots, host them, and how to generally navigate through the platform. This is Kahoot 101, which is for discovering the basics of Kahoot, but then we also have another series called Kahoot Deep Dive that happens every second Wednesday of the month, where you can learn more extended or in-depth use cases. We have 97% of the Fortune 500 using Kahoot right now, and we're happy to extend this to more and more customers every year. Our customers are based globally across the world. So I often like asking, find yourself on the map. This is the drop pin question type. You'll see a pin at the center of your screen, and then you can grab your picture and drag it around to make sure that the pin falls in the right spot. And this is one of the question types used for collecting opinions, which means that it doesn't have a right or wrong answer. It doesn't have points associated with it, but it does capture what the response is that your audience is providing, and then it stores it in the reports. So I see that one pin is somewhere around Texas in US, and the other one is in the ocean. So I hope you have a boat. But this one's really fun for capturing a visual poll or highlighting different parts of an image or using it as an icebreaker on a map. All the responses from the audience will be saved in your report, so you can go back and take a look at it later. So that was the drop-in question type. Next up, we have a scale question. This is also one of our new question types that lets you either create a Likert scale from a scale of 1 to 5, or you can customize the scale from any numbers from 0 to 10 and also create your own labels. So looking at how confident are you in your ability to create and host Kahoots right now, you can go from not confident, rating it at a 1, or move all the way up to super confident, rating it at a 10. Once the answers have been submitted, it goes ahead and gives you a little bit of a animation and shows you what the average response was, and what the most popular responses were. So all the responses that are submitted, you'll see like a bar graph to show you how people responded or how many people responded with a certain point, and then it takes out the average and shows you what the score is. This is a poll type question. This is probably something that you've experienced before, but we're going to experience this by asking, do you currently have a Kahoot subscription? This also helps me understand if you already have access to these features, because a lot of the question types that we're experiencing today are paid questions. So if you have a free account, you may not see these in your account right now, but if you have a paid subscription, you should already have access to most of them. And if not, you can contact our customer success team and they'd be happy to help you getting access to those questions. And then if you had anything in particular in mind that you wanted to learn more about, and that's what brought you to spending this morning with us today, please go ahead and put that in here so that we can make sure that that is covered during the training session. And if we're not able to cover it, then we'll make sure to send you resources that help address those questions. This here is an open-ended question. So this gives you 250 characters to type out your response, which is typically a couple sentences. It's great for collecting opinions, for collecting questions at the start of the meeting, for collecting feedback at the end of it. And the amazing part is that all of this also gets stored in reports, so you don't have to have somebody taking notes. This will all get stored into reports automatically. After the session, you can just go to the reports and review everything. Once the responses have been submitted, you can either choose to show the responses on the screen, or you can go ahead and leave it for the reports and move to the next question. So the two things that people are hoping to learn today are learning metrics and the new AI tools. We're going to cover experiencing a live training, which we're doing right now. Then we'll learn how to navigate through the platform, how to create a Kahoot, and then host it either live or self-paced. And hopefully this will be a fun experience. And for a little bit of my own personal knowledge gathering, what are you reading or watching these days? This is a word cloud question type. So this lets you give small responses. It's 20 characters, so you're able to put in a quick response and see everything on the screen, all the responses on the screen. If a response was shared more than once, it will appear bigger than the other, but because these responses were not repeated, they're one by each person. That's why you see them equally sized. And the more responses there are, the cloud looks nicer. It's also, again, stored in the Kahoot report so that you can get access to it later. So Kahoot has 13 different question types. Two of these were very recently launched, including the scale and the pin answer. The pin answer is the most recent one being launched just earlier this week. With the question types that you have available, you can decide how you want to engage your audience. Either you're looking to test their knowledge, so you'll use one of the 6 question types in this section. These all have the concept of scores. Standard scores are 1,000, double points are 2,000, and you can also decide for a question to not have any points, but typically the points are what create that engagement and get people to respond quickly because points decrease linearly over time. So the quicker you are to answer a Kahoot question, the more the points will be that you earn. You can also decide to just collect opinions from the audience, in which case there's no need to have points or a concept of right or wrong answer. We're just gathering input and engaging the audience. You can also present information to the audience, very much like what I'm doing right now. So this is a slide that was built inside of PowerPoint. You can build PowerPoint style slides inside Kahoot. This was, sorry, built inside Kahoot. And you can have PowerPoint style slide layouts inside of Kahoot, or you can just import your slides from Keynote, Google Slides, PowerPoint, or any other platform that lets you export as a PDF, and then upload that into Kahoot. Move your slides around so that you have a couple of slides and then a question pops up. So your audience is consistently engaged instead of having a full presentation for an hour long and then having questions at the end. So the best experience would be either building your slides in Kahoot or importing them from your PowerPoint presentation so that your entire engagement, whether it's a meeting, a presentation, or a training, it has questions peppered throughout, ideally at every 5 or 10 minutes of speaking. So you can engage your audience, you can present information to them, and then once you've built your Kahoot file or Kahoot game, there are 3 different ways that you can use that. You can either do a live game, which is what we're doing right now with real-time engagement, or you can do an assigned or self-paced game where you can send the Kahoot out to the audience asynchronously, either through email or through a link. Or if you're doing a Kahoot in a physical event space, you can even print QR codes and put it on the tables or, stick it up on the walls so that people can scan the QR code and answer the questions, whether it be a survey form or information about the event. You can also combine different Kahoots along with other learning elements such as videos, documents, stories, which is a article type format for gathering, learning, knowledge sharing materials inside Kahoot. You can bring all of those, combine them together into something called a course, and then courses let you have not only multiple multi-step learning journeys build or threaded together inside one single element. They also allow you to do automatic grading and certification. So you can say everybody that participates gets a certificate for completion, or everybody that scores up until a certain threshold, like 60%, 70, or 80%, they will be issued a certificate. And this is a great application for continuous learning of skills and improvement, knowledge gathering, and also stuff like onboarding, for example. So whenever someone's gone through all of the Kahoots, then they can say, okay, my onboarding is complete and I'm getting a Kahoot certificate issued to me. Whenever you've created a Kahoot file, you can either host it live or assign, as I mentioned earlier, and these are the different buttons that you'll see on your Kahoot. So before I launch into an actual Kahoot demo of the platform, a question for you. You can host the same Kahoot file or game live as well as asynchronously. Is this true or is that false? And this time I'm using our new question type, which is spin answer. So instead of having true or false buttons, we're going to pick yes or no on the image. The same concept as a drop-in. You'll see a pin at the center of the screen, and then you can go ahead and drag the image around to make sure that the pin falls in the right place. And the answer is yes. So both of the participants got that right. You can host the same file either live or asynchronously by just choosing the start or assign button whenever you're starting your Kahoot. And this little box that you see on the screen, so whenever I created this pin answer question, this highlighted area is what I selected as the correct response. So when you add an image for a pin answer, you can choose either in a circular or square rectangle format, what part of the image is going to be considered the right response. And because this was the first question where points were involved, you now see a scoreboard. Both of the participants answered correctly, but A answered faster, and that's why their points are a little bit higher than Mel. A quick open-ended question for you before we launch into the demo. What do you use Kahoot for right now? So whenever you're putting in your response for this is an open-ended question. Whenever you're putting in your response for this, it lets you highlight one word so that it is easy. So if you have a lot of text in there, it is easy for the host to very quickly see and pick the response. So this is used by training and quizzes by the audience. Now, show me the good stuff, which is inside Kahoot. So I'm hopping over to this other tab, and I love doing this because this demonstrates how you can leave Kahoot wherever it is. It'll stay paused in that live game segment, and then you can move on to a different platform during your training. You can go to different softwares that you want to show on your screen or a different web page, and the game will stay exactly where it is. You can come back to it after you're done with the other screens that you're using. So I'm going into my Kahoot account. Whenever I log in, I have a private space and a team space. Depending on your usage, you will likely have just one team space. I'm a part of multiple accounts, so I have more than one. I'm going to go to the team space that I'm using today. This is the company paid subscription. This is where all of your paid features are. It shows the plan that you're on. So I'm on 360 Spirit Premium, which is one of our highest tier offerings, and shows me the company name. I can also pick interest so that it goes ahead and gives me relevant recommendations down here on the activity feed. If I'm looking for inspiration, there is a Discover tab full of content ready to be used. This is material that has been created by our premium partners. So there's literally somebody sitting at NASA whose job it is to make Kahoots and um, put them on this Discover page. All of this material is coming from these organizations directly. It is their content, and a lot of it is free. It's very fun and engaging. So if you were wanting to do a trivia or just an engaging Kahoot with your team, this would be a great place to go and find that content. You can also grab a bunch of stuff from here and use that as inspiration and just incorporate it into your own Kahoots that you're using. For example, Places Around the World is a course. It has 6 different activities, which means 6 different Kahoots have been brought together under one course, which you can play back to back. And you can see what the questions are in here. The wonderful thing about courses is that you can not only have Kahoots, but also documents, videos, stories, all linked in here, one after the other, threaded in a specific format. And you can also attach downloadable materials. So if you wanted people to go through a course and then download reading material, handout, policy document, whatever it is, you would be able to attach it to a course and then send it out to your audience. If you're wanting to start a course, you have the same options as you do with a Kahoot, which is start it live and host it real time with your audience, assign it asynchronously, or just play it yourself. So if I go ahead and start this live, it will give me this pop-up page where I see, okay, this is the order in which all of these steps or these Kahoots are supposed to be played, and I can start this. Once we play this, I can move on to the next one. So the Discover tab is a great place for inspiration, a great place for finding ready-to-use free materials. And we also have a premium content library called Access Pass that's linked into Discover. You can search for materials in here, or you can get the Access Pass subscription, which is super cheap. I think it's about $36 a year, or about $4 a month. And it has excellent materials that you can use as is. Your own content that you are creating or other people in your organization are creating is going to be under the library tab. So the library is the space where you store your materials, or you go into the team folder, and every license holder in your account, except for limited members, will have access to the team folder. This is a great way of organizing all of the shared company Kahoots. You can have different folders. I have it distributed based on the kind of Kahoot. So I have materials that I create for the deep dive webinar, the Kahoot 101 webinar internally for my team. You could do departments. So each department could have their own folder. Each subject could have its own folder. Each different training type could have its own folder. You can organize however you need. You can continue to add more and more folders. And again, everyone that is a part of your account, except limited members, will have access to this. So you don't need to be worried about sharing materials with others. Anything that you create and you're not yet ready to share, like it's a draft, you're still working on it, that can live inside your folder. Your folder is not shared with others, it's your space. The admins of the account will still be able to access this, but in general, other team members will not. So that you're working on it, you can continue to create your draft, finalize it, and once you're ready, you can move it over to the team folder. So the materials that you have created or your team members have created will be available inside the library. Same thing for stories and courses, they'll all be under the library section. Once you're done hosting your Kahoot, you can go ahead to the Reports tab, and these reports are automatically generated and they're updated in real time. For example, for the live game that we are playing right now, March 27th, this is happening right now, started a few minutes ago, and it has 2 players. Even though the game is still live, we're halfway through it, the reports are already populating. So we can go ahead and see what the response from each person has been. So it has a player scorecard, which captures every individual's performance. And then it has a content scorecard where it shows you all of the responses that came in for specific questions. So when I asked this question, can you host a Kahoot at the same for live and asynchronously? Can the same file be used? The answer was yes. 2 people said yes, and the responses are stored here, like which person said what. So the reports are generated in real time. It's automatic. It is super helpful. It shows you individual performance as well as content performance. So like if one question was not answered correctly by a large number of people, it gives you an idea of what to follow up on. And then you can also download these reports or look at all the other reports for the same Kahoot file. So if this training is something that I host multiple times with different batches, I can see the reports for all of the batches together. So that's how you navigate through the platform. Those are the main segments that you would generally be concerned with. What's on your home tab? What is Discover and Access Pass? Those are our content libraries. Where's all of your own material? It's under the library tab. Where are all of your historical data in terms of the sessions that you've hosted? It's under the reports tab. Once you know how to navigate through the platform, you might decide to create your own Kahoot. So you click on the create button, which is available everywhere on the regardless of wherever you are in the app, it's always available in the top navigation bar. And you can select how to create a single Kahoot or a story or a course. So we're going to cover Kahoots today. Whenever you're creating a Kahoot, you get four options on how to get started. We have our question generator, which is an amazing tool that we have recently launched. This lets you upload your existing training or PowerPoint material or presentation that you've created for a meeting or a huddle. And once it's uploaded to the platform, you're able to just let Kahoot create all the questions. You can view the questions, see how whether they look appropriate or not, and then add the ones that you like. So I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to go ahead and upload this file that was created in Canva, and then I downloaded it as a PDF to be stored in my computer. It has a summary of all the great features that were launched in 2023. And this is, let's say, what I'm wanting to present today. I can have our AI read through the whole document, or I can pick specific pages that I wanted to read. I'm going to select the whole document for now. And the AI assistant is going to read, create questions of different types like slider and quiz and true or false. It's going to combine all that together. And then it's going to let me pick which questions I want. So true or false, is the question generator feature an AI powered tool? It is true. Yes, it is. I added the question. You can see it's been added here in the background. What is the latest AI-powered feature that helps transforms PDFs into Kahoots? It is called the PDF to Kahoot generator. And it also gives you the wrong options, like story is not it, course certification is not it, but it's giving you the wrong options as well. And I feel like coming up with the wrong options is sometimes half the battle of creating a quiz question. It's also giving me other options such as different slides with prompts for discussion. So open discussion. How does the new AI-powered question generator feature in Kahoot save time for content creators and trainers? That's a great topic to have an open discussion about. And it's giving me that prompt on its own. So once I'm done creating my questions based off of the options that were provided, I can go ahead and make a few changes. I can change the question types or the timing or the points. And then if I feel like adding more questions, I will just click on add question, go to the question generator again, and then upload the document again. The reason why I need to upload the document again is because we're not storing the documents that you've uploaded. This engagement is session-based. You upload the file, the AI assistant reads through it, and then once you've selected the questions you want and you hop out of the question generator, that's it. The document's not in our memory, it's gone. So the next time you want to generate questions, again, you'll need to upload the same file again, or you could even upload a different file and have questions generated from a variety of different training content. So then I can continue, pick some more questions, and move on. Now, let's imagine I did not have a document and I'm just wanting to do a training on a specific general topic, and I want to get information off of the general internet. In that case, I can go ahead and give it a prompt. So this is the second option of using our AI question generator. Instead of using your own material, this is now going to search through the Microsoft Azure OpenAI database, and that's where it's going to grab all of the information that it has on Kahoot. And then it's going to give you questions. So the first one is the slider type. What year was Kahoot founded? 2013. That is correct. It might sometimes have information that's a little bit outdated because it is searching through a database that, it's the internet, so it may or may not be updated. So always do a second kind of verification if you're not 100% sure on that information, because it is AI, and at the end of the day, it is there to make our lives easier and make you save time on Kahoot, get to your first draft faster, but it's not meant to replace your trainers. Your trainers and content creators are getting a lot of help from this, but they are still the main people doing the work. So they'll still need to verify information that you're picking up from the prompt-based question generator. Other than that, you can start from our templates or just start from a blank canvas and start creating your own Kahoot from scratch. In that case, you can pick from one of our 13 different question types. You can import a spreadsheet with a list of questions. If you already have those questions available, it will create all of those as quiz type, and then you can just go ahead and change the question type from here. So if you have a quiz ready, it's just going to pull it up for you, or you can let the AI assistant make the quiz for you. You can also add slides. As we saw earlier in our Kahoot presentation, you can pick from one of these slide layouts available here, or just import a document from your computer. I'm going to go ahead and import the exact same file that I use for the AI generation of questions, because then my overall Kahoot experience will be complete. I have the slides, and then I have the questions that Kahoot made for me. I'm going to make sure that the questions are placed in the right spot. So I'm going to grab this, take it to the top. This slide is about the PDF to Kahoot generator, and here are questions about the generator. Then I'm going to grab another slide, bring it up here, make sure it has another question related to it, and so on. So now my presentation is complete. I'm also going to quickly demo creating the pin answer question. The pin answer is the latest question type that we have, and you can use it for a lot of different reasons. If you are training somebody about machinery or process, or there is a flow chart and you want to ask questions about, find what the right step in the process is for this, or find the right part of this equipment, label a part of the anatomy, you can go ahead and ask that question. I'm going to do a simple yes or no question right now. I'll say, can you upload videos directly to Kahoot? And then I'll go ahead and use our Getty and Unsplash integrations to just find me an image that has a yes or no option on there. And then I have to define the correct area. I could also just upload my own images, but I'm just using that integration for making my life easier. And people can be a little bit off, so I'll make sure that they have a bunch of space for pinning. So if they drop the pin in anywhere inside this square, it's going to be considered a correct response. So then I'm going to preview. The question will be posed. People will see the pin at the center of the screen. They will move the image around to make sure that it falls on the yes. And the correct answer is yes. There we go. So we got a bunch of pins in the right spot, and it shows you what the right area was, so you know what the right response was. And that also leads me to showing you the next update in the platform, which is you can now go ahead and import videos directly into Kahoot, which was not available before. So if I do a big media slide or any other question type and I click find and insert, I could previously use YouTube and Vimeo for uploading videos, but now I can also just upload files directly. So you have the ability to upload videos in Kahoot Stories and your actual Kahoot. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. And before I go back into my Kahoot game and move on to the next screen, I'm going to give a heads up. Pick up your cell phone, make sure that it's awake. It should be, but if the screen is dark, make sure that you open up the Kahoot game again, because when you've been away from the Kahoot on the cell phone for a little while, the cell phone screen goes dark and it may take a couple seconds to reconnect. So if you have a question on the next screen, like I do, it's nice to give a heads up to your audience so that they're able to wake up their devices and are able to answer the question in time. Now, the question is, how can you use Kahoot's AI tools to convert your PDF into a Kahoot? And these are the steps that you would take to use the question generator. They appear jumbled on your screen right now, and you can drag them to put them back in the right order. So what's the first thing that you would do? You would open the Kahoot create page. So you can drag that option to the top. The second thing would be to select the question generator option. Then the third thing would be to upload your document. The fourth step would be to select from a list of questions the ones that you want to use. So we got one correct response, one incorrect response. We first open the Kahoot Create page. Then we select the question generator for the PDF to Kahoot feature. Then we upload our PDF file and select the pages that we want the AI tool to read. And then we select from a list of questions presented by our AI generator. So you can use this for different chronological order, larger versus smaller, process type questions. This is the puzzle type question. Next up, how many question types does Kahoot offer? Including our latest one that we talked about today, how many question types are there? There are 13 different question types that Kahoot offers, and both the participants provided the right response. I love the animation that the slider question has. It's such a game show experience. Before we wrap up today, I also wanted to highlight that there are additional game modes available in your account. So if you go into your library and you pick any one of your Kahoots to play, if you select host live or start, then you will be provided a bunch of options as to how you want to host that Kahoot. And I know our default mostly is to just hit start in the classic mode, which is the way that we know and love Kahoot. But there are so many other game modes available inside your platform, each with its own pedagogical and learning value. They're so fun. They feel like you're playing a video game, but you're actually learning the content of the Kahoot because a lot of it revolves around repetition and making sure that people have memorized something before they leave, or even if they were answering incorrectly at the beginning, the system will tell them what the right answer is so that they are aware of it before they leave the game. They feel like video games on your cell phone, but you're actually learning. So please test these out. They are very good for review activities at the start of the day, recaps at the end of the day, or just fun to break the monotony of a big training day. I know questions have been popping up in the chat, but if there are any other questions, let's go ahead and take a look at those now. You can turn on your, like raise your hand so I can turn on your microphone, or you can throw those in chat. Okay, well, so it seems like we're all good for now. So I'll go ahead and move to our closing. Again, I have another slider type question. We talked about rating ourselves on how confident we feel at creating and hosting Kahoots at the start. And now if you were to compare that with how confident you're feeling at this point, if you've gained knowledge, if you've learned something new, then you can go ahead and select a different number at this point. So we have one person at 5, one person at 9, and the average response or the average confidence that users feel in creating and hosting Kahoots is at a 7. What was one key takeaway from today's session for you? One thing that stood out, that you enjoyed, that you liked, that you'd want to try out? So we have one response here right now, and the timer is still running. If everybody that is in the Kahoot responds, then it goes ahead and skips the rest of the timer. But you also, as the host, have the option to skip the timer by clicking the skip button that's available always on the top right corner of the screen. The key takeaways for the audience today were creating Kahoot from our own training material, which was the PDF to Kahoot feature, and then easy to find many options and metrics. We also have a deep dive webinar coming up on April 17th, which is going to be hosted on how to host great team huddles with Kahoot. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this link from my screen and paste it in chat so you can click on it, open it up, and register for that webinar. It's going to be talking specifically about how to host a huddle with your team through Kahoot. This question is here just so you can experience what a brainstorm question feels like. This is a question type that allows you to grab multiple responses from the audience. So with open-ended and word cloud that we did earlier, you're able to grab one response. But with brainstorm, you can ask the audience for anywhere between 1 to 5 responses. And the audience doesn't have to provide. So I asked for 3 here, and you don't have to give all 3 ideas, but I wanted you to see what it feels like when you have the option. So for example, you know, if you had only 2 ideas to submit, you could click the finish button, or you can keep submitting ideas and do all 3. When everyone's done responding, it's going to go ahead and show you all the ideas on the screen. So this is a great way of capturing everybody's input. And if you wanted, you could get people to vote on the ideas. So this is a great way of decision making as a group without having to go around the table and have everyone present their idea and then do like try to find out by raising hands or another way what the popular idea is. You can just start voting in the system. I'll skip voting for now, but wanted to make sure that you guys know what that question type looks like. We tried to cover as many question types in the live game today so you could get some hands-on experience. We also tried to answer as many questions as we could during the chat, but if you have any more questions, you need more information, or need to get access to any of the question types, if you don't already have access, please reach out to our team. The contact information for different purposes is available in the chat. Thank you so much for spending this morning with us. Really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll see you in the next webinar. Bye, everyone.